Gwen.
And I'm Dorothy.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
And I'm Bill Burrow, the director of the Health and Counseling Center.
Perfect. So, Bill, from your perspective, how would you consider the Health and Counseling Center, or what would you consider the Health and Counseling Center, and what is its purpose?
Okay, so the Health and Counseling Center exists on campus to help students with whatever physical needs they might need help with, medical, so illness and injury for the most part. And then on the counseling side, we're here to help students with whatever might be going on from a mental health perspective. So most of what we see falls into a couple large buckets. I'm going to move this. This is going to look really good on video. So about 40% of who we see is coming in for mood disorders, so depression, anxiety. About 40%, 30 to 40% of who's people coming in are coming in for relationship problems. So this is everything from I can't get along with my roommate, to my parents are getting a divorce, to all the sexual assault and sexual molestation is in that category as well. About 10 to 15% is what we call adjustment disorders, which is something really bad in life happened and they need some help kind of getting back up and running again. And then a smattering of other things, but those are the three big categories of what we see. So we see about 300 to 400 students on the counseling side a year. On the physical health side, we see just under about 1,000 a year. So a lot of students use us, and our job is mostly to just keep students going so they can do their academic work.
Yeah. What specific resources do you have for students experiencing depression and anxiety?
So we have counseling services available through the center. Most of it's individual counseling. We've tried groups in the past, and people tend to not want to go to groups. I was just on a Zoom meeting with people from all over the country on Friday, and they all struggle to get groups going. So even though groups have some real benefits, it's just difficult to get students to do it. And sometimes it's scheduling, and sometimes they just don't want to be there with other people. So most of it's individual counseling. I have a team of about 9 counselors that are available to see students. Most of them are doctoral students from our PsyD program. They're in all different stages of training, so we make sure that we put the client with the student that has the right level of training that they need. However, most of the counseling that we're doing in here would exceed the level of counseling that you would get in the community if you went to see a master's level counselor.
Okay.
So it's not quite the same as seeing a psychologist, but it's more than what you generally get in the community.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool.
Are there any barriers that you've recognized for students having access to mental health care here on campus?
There probably are. From where I sit, knowing how the world works outside of a campus, I go, there's no barriers, right?
Yeah.
It's much harder to get it out in the community. There's no cost. So the cost to see the provider, whether it's on the medical side or the counseling side, is covered by student fees. So you're able to come free. We don't limit the number of sessions. Now we are a short-term site, so our goal is to get people done as quickly as possible so there's room for the next one that needs to come in. Our average number of sessions is around 7. I try to get people to shoot for 6, knowing that they're going to hit 7. And for the last couple of years, we've been seeing most clients every other week because we've had such an influx of folks that was the only way we could accommodate them. Probably close to half the universities in the country are running wait list by the time they get to the end of September. We don't run a wait list. I make sure I can get people in, but part of how we do that is by pacing people out a little stronger. So those that have more intense things going on, we see weekly. Those that have things that are not as challenging to their day-to-day functioning, we'll see those people every other week. So the barriers probably are more sort of self-imposed. It's like it's not okay for my family doesn't see it that way, or the culture I grew up in doesn't think it's okay. I think there are certain subgroups within our student population where just culturally counseling isn't something that's done as frequently. But it's pretty easy. They just need to make a phone call and we get them in within a couple days. So.
And then specifically kind of related to COVID-19, are there any tips or encouragement you have to students during the kind of barriers that are faced during COVID-19 and isolation and things like that?
I think the key things are people need to continue to connect with folks as much as possible. On this week, the next 10 days are supposed to be gorgeous. Get outside. People need to exercise. And it doesn't mean you've got to go to Hadlock and kill yourself on a weight machine that you don't understand. I mean, just get outside and go for a brisk walk for 20 minutes, 3 or 4 days a week. It's free. It's good for your body. You'll sleep better. It reduces anxiety and depression better than standard antidepressant medication does. And I can show you the studies. So exercise is critically important. It was really tough for people to do that when we had air quality in the 400 plus numbers, right? But I've lived here 30 years. that's the first time that's ever
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
here, right? So that's really unusual. So making sure that you're taking good care of yourself is really important in stressful times. So when we're not under high stress, we can kind of get away with abusing ourselves and not doing the things that we should be doing.
Yeah.
But when you're in a tough time, and COVID would be one of those tougher times, then it's even more important to just have those things routinely built into your schedule. So